Hi there boys and girls, we're back at the dojo, Energia Martial Arts. Tom is helping me out once again. We're going to show you an advanced triangle submission. So advanced is a broad aspect. We're going to look at some basic concepts of the triangle, the mechanics and setup. But we're going to look at some variations later on that are pretty fancy, how you can mix up the triangle with different submissions. Let's just show you, have fun. Boys. Okay, so we're going to start off in close guard. Actually, we already have a video on the basic triangle, and getting to the triangle is actually the hardest part. This setup of just controlling through wrists, throwing one out, lifting my, etc., that's not really going to work in practice. Usually I work my triangle from when I control his posture, either with oval guard or shoulder pin or whatever. I work my angle, control, boom, switch, or I fake sweeps, or etc., etc. I'm not going to go in depth on that. I'm just going to go in depth on the mechanics of the triangle, controlling, finishing, etc. But I just want to make a clear statement that that's really important. So concerning the triangle in general, every time I go for a triangle, there's a few basic reactions he can do, to prevent it. That's either getting his posture back, and posturing out of it, or stacking me. So he puts his weight on top, etc. I have to be aware of those options in switching my triangles. What prevents him from actually pretty stacking me is, in general, my body composure, my posture. If I put my shoulders on the mat, a bit of a hollow back, and my head on the mat, it's pretty hard for him to stack me, as opposed to when I ball up and look at him and ball up and grab his head, or all those old school basic things. It's easy for him to stack me. So just to get that out of the way. So one arm in, one arm out. That's the basic idea of triangles, guys. If you want to get a basic idea, once again, check out the basic video. A few mechanics that just make some details on a triangle. As soon as I pin his wrist to his chest, my foot goes on his hip, and I keep pressure with my knee. So you see his posture composing here. I pull him forward, as I lift this leg all the way up. So I don't want to curl him with my heel. I want to lift it all the way up. And you see me pulling and lifting at the same time. Boom. Now I want to rotate my leg from my hip. So look at my foot. It's going to rotate. Boom, like so. Once again, I also want to rotate. So not only is my hip rotating here, but also my whole body is rotating. And I put pressure. It's pretty hard to see Tom's face from that angle, but I put pressure with my knees. So I don't want to go to the triangle shape immediately because my knees are apart. Actually, the more I push my knees together, the more pressure there is. And it's pretty hard for him to retract that arm. I don't need my hands to keep control of his arm. I need my hands for other options later on. So I want to control his arm and his posture with my knees, rotate my hip, angle, and then don't put my calf down on his back, nor on his neck, but actually right above where his skull starts to bend. And then I slide under, and I keep my knee and my foot towards each other. So if he wants to retract this arm, it's stuck. If he wants to stack me, my foot on his hip is pushing and my shoulders on the mat. So stack me, please. This is what happens. If I ball up, I don't push on his hip, stack me. Now he starts stacking me. So, thank you. I want to keep pressure away, keep my knees together. Now Thomas already experienced some slight discomfort here. So I put my knees together, go behind the skull, boom. Now I don't want to swing this leg over because that leaves space for him to track his arm out, boom, and I have to switch to other options, and I don't want to. So I keep pressure with my knees. Pull your arm out, pull your arm out, pull your arm out, pull your arm out, pull your arm out. There's no time for him to pull his arm out, there's no space. So I make a slight switch. Now guys, you don't have to go in between your knee, like the crook of your knee, and point your knees out. This leaves more space for Tom. It's actually okay to bring your legs in one line, go here, and don't just pull down on one angle. You see me balling up again, I just want to be down. If you need your hands to finish a triangle, you just don't have a good triangle. I want to get my legs in one line, and I don't want to extend, nor do I want to pull down one end. I just want to scissor my legs together and get a tap. That's it. So my legs aren't just being a triangle pushing down. They are like bringing my legs together to close both spaces on the side of his carotid arteries. So that was the basic setup of the triangle. Some minor details with bring him forward, rotating the hip, angle, don't going on his back, bring here, knees together, squeezing, etc. Now my hands. I'm going to give a job to my hands. One of my hands could control my shin. This is something you see happening sometimes to keep his posture. I don't want to control my foot because if he aggressively bases up, especially if my foot is already trapped here, and you can see my ankle, he might injure my ankle or my foot. So I want to control my shin. Now look at Tom's face. If I grab my shin here, he's pretty okay. Just lift your head and smile. He's good. So I want to go all the way across and grab my shin as high as possible and bring my knee and elbow towards each other. Now, get your arm out, please. Bring your head up and smile. So here's stuck. And then I switch over for a very tight triangle. Now, I don't care if he puts pressure and stacks me, as you've seen with my foot and with my posture. I don't care if he brings his arm around to the corner. I'm going to show you that one. So just fast forward a little bit. I'm here. Now Tom brings his arm to the other side. He gets space. I don't care. My triangle has to be pretty narrow, pretty hard here, yeah, in order to get the tap. If his arm is wrapped all the way around, I don't immediately switch up for the Omo Gogoplata here. Yeah, we've seen this in the different video. So once I have the triangle and he brings his arm to the backside, lifts his head, I just insert a new shoulder, bring it here, and make him tap there. Even if he lifts his head all the way up, it just gives me more space. I go in between, tap him there. So that's also still pretty easy to fathom. Yeah. Now we get into the final detail. This time, I don't just want to do a triangle. I want to control his entire posture. I want to make sure he doesn't stack, and I want to sit up. Yeah. So what happens now, we'll show it from this angle first, and then a bit more diagonal. So as soon as I go for the triangle, whatever setup you're using, and I have my foot on his hip, I don't close my triangle. I just keep pressure with my knees, and I'm going to use my hands to sit up and slide back. If Tom wants to follow up, I'm pushing off with my foot on his hip. So I can raise him here. He cannot follow as fast as I get up. I get up all the way on my hands. Now I'm going to not only lock my triangle, but this leg, which I'm not swirling around, but this leg, just want to show you, is going over and under. The more I'm underneath Tom, the harder and more impossible it gets to go. The further I slide away, the easier, but the harder it gets for the pressure on Tom's neck and shoulder. So we only have to do this once for Tom's sake. We're here. I A-B all the way back, slide back, slide back, slide back, till he's completely stretched, go over and underneath his hip. If he stays on his knees, put your right knee forward, I put it underneath here. Now I don't only squeeze, I extend. So I extend my left leg, squeeze, and get not only a very tight triangle, which is nearly impossible to stack, but also a lot of pressure on the shoulder and the neck, extending them out. So what happens is I'm on my back, get my hands on the mat, and slide up, 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 till I extend here for a pretty gnarly variation of the triangle. Yeah. Let's check it out one last time, a bit more diagonal. So you can see it from my perspective. So same thing, boom, lift, extend, lift the hip, boom. Now I don't want to close my triangle. I just keep pressure here. Yeah. If he postures up, go grab the shin, control. I could work the arm. We have some more trouble in this coming in a second. But for now, I just work my hands on the mat. I slide up. I keep pushing on his hip. I keep pushing on his hip until I am above him. I can see all the weight over his back. Yeah, I'm no longer laying beneath him. Then, and only then, I get my triangle, put my foot in his hip, and squeeze and extend. Now, this is very uncomfortable for your partner, so just quickly extend. For a very gnarly variation on the so famous triangle choke. Now, there you have a basic setup to the triangle. As I told you, some minor details on controlling, A-being, posture, stacking. Now we're going to look at posturing up, we're going to look at chaining some submissions, and we're going to switch angles. So, in this case, my hands have another offensive job or defensive job. I need to use them. If I need my hands to finish a triangle and just pull on his head, then either I'm having a very weak triangle or a very tough opponent. Yeah? I try to finish my triangles just using my legs. My hands have to do another job. So in this case, I could use my hands to not only give him a submission, but a dilemma. So I want to give him two submissions. For example, as I'm squeezing for the triangle, I fish underneath this arm. It can be stretched as so, put it against my shoulder or on top of my shoulder, doesn't matter. And I don't roll over, I just get my thumb behind his elbow and slice it in here to get an armbar variation. If his arm is bent backwards, so his arm is bent backwards, I can use it to work like a kimura. So as we come here, boom, and I get his arm completely bent, like bend it backwards, yes, like this. Then I lift it up like a variation of a kimura. But usually it tends to stretch, just as Tom shows you. I go right behind his elbow, fix the gable grip, and don't roll over, but just push it in. I can use my shoulder to push back, so you get my shoulder pushing that way and my hand rolling this way, and get for the armbar there. yeah, while squeezing the triangle, obviously. So now you have two options. You can work this side to work for Americana there, you can work wrist locks. Obviously, everyone knows switching up to the armbar here. Everyone knows switching up to the other side for the Omo Gogoplata here. So those are some basic options, yeah. I like giving him two submissions at once, usually just going for the straight armbar there, whilst going for the triangle. Now the final one, this is my favorite. That's chaining upper and lower body submissions together. So what happens? We've looked at stacking, we've looked at getting up and preventing his hip from coming forward and stacking us, but what if he postures up? Then also the armbar goes out of the window. Usually what happens is people go for the triangle, the other guy postures up, and they try to get this armbar. I either have to go full belly down and commit, but usually I just get his arm out and I get my guard passed, which is such a shame. So the cool thing would be to mix it up with lower body submissions. So as Tom postures up, I go underneath his leg. We've seen it in the basic triangle video, controlling his leg so it doesn't stand up. And I drop my knee down to the floor to K-guard. If you have no idea what K-guard is, we might do a video of that on the future. It's on our second DVD, Leglock Unlocked Part 2. But for now, just YouTube K-guard. I know Lachlan Giles is amazing with the stuff. He has a lot of stuff from K-guard. It's a nice guard entering the lower limbs in this case. Yeah, K-guard can be used for a lot of things. Now we just use it to mix upper body and lower body submissions. So I have my triangle, either close, not, whatever, and he postures up. I go underneath his leg, drop my knee to the floor, and important is to keep this shin from him smashing me down and putting pressure on top. My foot is on his hip, I close my gable grip, yeah, and I reap over as I pull his knee towards me. I grab his foot and bend it all the way over, swimming over, back elbow, exposing his heel. Yeah, I can control his secondary leg for backside game over, or just close my backside 50-50 here, controlling his heel, extending my hip, yeah, opening up my chest, and finishing for a backside 50-50 heel hook. Or my opponent goes for a back step, be careful here, because he puts more pressure on the 50-50. Usually they do this in order to grip fight, but then I switch to outside sankaku and finish off with a 50-50 heel hook. If you guys want more stuff on that topic specifically, because it was just slightly covering it. If you want to go into K-guard, backside 50-50, 50-50, outside sankaku, heel hooks, all that stuff, be sure to check out our DVDs on leg locks on BJJ Fanatics. That's Leg Locks Unlocked and Leg Locks Unlocked Part 2, specifically into the 50-50. But for now, it was just a variation on the triangle choke entering as he postures up to lower body submissions. So guys, there you have it. Triangle choke from guard, a classic choke, some focus points that you don't just grab the head, pull and make a triangle form. Some details, A being getting the angles, using your arms to either have more control, have more submission possibilities, and mixing upper and lower body together. And a very nice finish with weaving and extending. I hope you guys enjoyed, a lot of information. Have fun drilling it. See you in the next video.